Hello and welcome back to the lesson. In this video, we're going to be talking about links in HTML. Links are found in nearly all web pages. Links allows users to click their way from page to page. When you move the mouse over a link, the mouse arrow will turn into a little hand. That indicates that you are hovering over a link. So how do we create one in HTML? Well, we can simply create a link using the anchor tag, the A tag. So let's go ahead and create a link. Let's say anchor tag, or we can say A, and a link has an attribute called href or hyperreference. And we're going to go ahead and define the URL of the page or the document we want to navigate to, we want to link to from this our anchor tag. So let's say we want this link to take us straight to Google. So we're going to go ahead and pass the Google URL right inside of our anchor tag or link hyperreference. So we're going to go ahead and say http:// and we're going to say www.google.com. So this is exactly where we want this link to take us. So we're going to go ahead and now close our link, and we're going to go ahead in between our link element, we're going to specify the content or the text or whatever to display in order for the user to see and click. So it's more like an instruction of what the user should do. So now let me actually go ahead and save our file first before actually adding some content to our link. So if we go ahead and save our file, as you can see, nothing appears here. So we need to add an indication, we need to add a prompt to the user to know that this is a link and he can go ahead and click it through. So we're going to go ahead and say go to Google, something like this. And now we're going to go ahead and save our file. As you can see, now our link appears inside of our web page. Now we have a link that says go to Google. And now let's go ahead and try our link. Let's go ahead and click it to see if it is going to take us straight to Google. Now let's go ahead and click on that. Yes, of course, it takes us straight to Google. So as long as you are typing in a correct URL inside the link href or hyperreference, you're going to be navigated or taken straight ahead to the link that you provided. So friend, that's basically how we use links in HTML. Well, the most important attribute in a link is this href or hyperreference attribute right here, where you're going to be specifying your hyperreference, the link or the URL of the exact position or exact document you want to take yourself to when you click on the link. And we can as well go ahead and change the URL, the hyperreference, and this time around we're going to say we want our link to take us to YouTube, and here we're going to go ahead and say go to YouTube, something like this. Save our file. Now let's get back to our previous page. Alright, here it says go to YouTube. Now let's go ahead and click on go to YouTube. Alright, so as you can see, by default, the link page will be displayed in the current browser window. To change this, you must specify another target for the link. So we can go ahead and use the target attribute to specify where to open the linked document. And the target attributes have the following values: self, blank, parent, and top. So now let's go ahead and add the target attribute right here. So after the hyperreference, we're going to go ahead and say target, and we're going to first go ahead and use the self underscore self, like so. So the self target value attribute is the default target, which basically opens the document in the same window or tab as it was clicked, just like you're seeing right now. Let's actually go ahead and save our file. And if I go ahead and go back, this time around I wanted to, let me change the hyperreference to Google. Alright, let's say go to Google. Okay, something like this. Save our file, and if I go ahead and click on go to Google, it's going to take me straight to Google. This is basically the default target value, which is self, and we can go ahead and use the blank. Let's say underscore blank, like so. So the blank target value opens the document in a new window or tab. So let's go ahead and see that for ourselves. Now let's get back to our original page, refresh, and we're going to go ahead and say go to Google. As you can see, it opens the Google in a new tab. This is basically our home tab, and it went ahead to open our linked document in a new tab. which is very cool. So this is basically how we go about using the target attribute to basically decide how our linked document will be displayed. And there's another one called parent, so we're going to go ahead and say underscore parent, something like this. So the parent target value opens the document in the parent prim. So let's go ahead and see that for ourselves. Let's save our file. Let's get back right here. Let's close this window or this tab, and let's come over here, refresh, and say go to Google. As you can see, it opens the document in the parent frame, just like the self or the default target value. Alright, and we have the last but not least, which is the top. So we're going to go ahead and say underscore top. So the top target attribute value opens the document in a full body of the window. So let's go ahead and see that for ourselves. Now we're going to go ahead and save our file. Now let's get back to our home tab, and we're going to go ahead and now say go to Google. And as you can see, our top target attribute value right here opens the document in the full body of the window, just like the parent and the self or the default target attribute value. Alright, that's great. And you should also know that a link does not have to be a text. A link can be an image or any other HTML element. So let's go ahead and add an image as a link to see for ourselves that a link does not have to be a text. So let's come over here. Let's get back to our home tab. Let's go ahead and copy this link, paste it down below here. Alright, and right here in between our link element, we're going to go ahead and add an image, even though we haven't learned about how to add images to our web pages. But don't worry, I'm just going to go ahead and add it. In our next video, we're going to go ahead and discuss just about how to add images to our website. So I'm going to go ahead and use the image attribute and src. Let's actually go ahead and copy our image name right here that I added. Let's come over here and say rename, copy our image name. Alright, now let's get back to our code, paste our image name, and we're not going to be needing the alt. Alright, now let's go ahead and save our file. As you can see, we add an image to our website. Let's go ahead and use the style attribute to resize our image. Alright, so just come over here and say style and width. Let's set it width to, let's say, 40 pixels, and height to, let's say, 40 pixels as well. Now let's go ahead and save our file like so. As you can see, our image is now resized. Let's actually go ahead and increase the width and height. Let's say the width should be, let's say, 70 pixels, and the height as well should be 70 pixels. Now let's go ahead and save our file, save. Alright, as you can see, we have our image right here. So we can go ahead and click our image. Let's actually go ahead and comment this first link, comment it out, and let's go ahead and save our file. Now we have only our image. As you can see, if you hover over our image, the arrow changed to hands. That means that indicates that our image is a link, it's a clickable link. So, and as you can see down below here, take a look at this place. If I hover over, you can see that it shows the URL, the hyperreference of exactly where the link is going to take us, which is google.com. Alright, so now let's go ahead and click our image, and it's going to take us straight to Google. So as you can see, a link does not have to be a text. It can also be an image or any other HTML element. So friend, that will be it for this video. I hope the concept of link in HTML is now clear to you, and I hope you enjoyed the lesson, and I'll see you in the next one.